The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt, so get ready, nerds, because we're talking Halo Episode 6, Minimum Kwan. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we talk about Halo, the Paramount Plus TV show. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here.
Hi, bud.
And I'm on freaking Gear 6.
You're on like 13 energy drinks that you drank during our last thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jude is also here.
Hi.
What's up?
How are you?
Are you excited for Minimum Kwan?
I love any episode that has 0 to 30 seconds of Kwan. That's my
Threshold.
Yeah, that's my chef's kiss of an episode.
Cool. Also, the man behind the curtain, Kadish. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering why I was liking this episode so much. And I was like, oh, there's no Kwan in it.
Yeah, I do feel for Master Chief, though, because Kwan also haunts me in my nightmares. And she pops up, and I'm like, it's Kwan.
What's up with that haircut?
I sometimes booby trap the house because I'm afraid Kwan Ha will get in.
Poor actor.
As much as we talk about it, we must really like her.
It's just too much fun to joke about it, though. That's all. All right, so you guys know how this works. Kadish has a breakdown of the episode, and then we deep dive. We talk about what we liked, what we didn't like for the episode. So thanks for joining us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into it. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you want to support the podcast and download an awesome mobile game, go to saltynerd.com/DC, download Dragon Champions. It's a really fun, easy to play, free, downloadable mobile game that you can collect some heroes, upgrade them, and by typing in Salty in the promo code area, you can get a little upgrade, a couple extra little things to help you along your way. And the best part, and this is what we're really pushing for, is we have 25 spots open for our guild. So if you get to level 20, which isn't super difficult to do, you can join our Salty Nerd Podcast guild on the mobile game, and you can help us along our way. And we kind of it's like we get to share resources and stuff, because if we go on a raid with the guild, I open up my app and I get a freaking ton of stuff like, hey, you won this and this and this, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's a really cool game. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy playing it. These guys really support us. We want to return the favor, so head over there to whatever mobile app you use and download Dragon Champions. All right, Kadish.
Don't expect to see Kadish over there because he's got his
too good.
own guild.
Well, we're going to beat his guild with our guild.
Lord Master Kadish.
Lord Master Kadish.
I'm level 80. So.
Level 80. All right, you're tapped out, though, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a shame. All right, Kadish, take it away. What happens in this episode?
All right. So this episode is entitled Solace. It's the 6th episode of the season. We only got 3 more after this one. And I just want to remind our viewers and listeners that we hate CBS here because they will copy claim you for 1 second of video footage. So we've had to rejigger our Halo reviews. We normally like to include a lot of contextual clips so you guys know what we're talking about. But due to CBS's shenanigans, we are forced to basically make this a lazy edit. And hopefully you guys are still enjoying it. But it's kind of taken the wind out of my sails.
I'm really invested.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I'm more invested in Angry Joe's crusade against CBS.
Yeah, his reviews keep getting taken, but he does like 13-second clips, and then he's like, "Why are you copy striking me?" So
yeah, we don't do that. We only use like 5-second clips, and they still take us down. But anyway, let's get going.
All right, so I normally break this stuff down by storyline, but this episode is entirely Master Chief's except for one scene. So we're going to cover Kwan Ha. When Master Chief goes to do a health diagnostic on a ship, he has a brief flashback of Kwan from episode 1 asking if he was dying.
Kwan Ha!
Fascinating.
Literally his reaction to seeing Kwan Ha again was the same as mine.
Yeah.
Just like, oh shit, God, go away. Great moment.
It just made me wonder why they put it in there.
I don't
So
know.
why do you have to put her face in this episode?
Jude and I were both
dumb.
watching the show, and the minute that scene happened, we were both like, oh.
Well, she's probably contracted to be in every single episode.
Well, they met it, I guess, sort of.
I'm glad she's only in this for 30 seconds. But anyway, continue on.
All right, so Master Chief is reflecting on his memories of being abducted as the UNSC evacuates their wounded from Erradius II. Kai is in pain from her wounds, and Captain Keyes is grateful that Chief saved his life and the life of so many Marines, despite losing the artifact. Though he puts on a brave face, something is seriously wrong with Master Chief due to his contact with the artifact. When they land on Reach, Master Chief locks Halsey in her lab on their ship and sets the decontamination protocols in the lab to kill her. Cortana objects to this, and Chief challenges her to just take him over and stop him from killing Halsey. When it becomes apparent Cortana can't take him over, Master Chief frees Halsey, sparing her life just in time. Now, Master Chief knows the limits of Cortana's control over him, but he makes it clear he's done protecting Halsey.
Awesome.
I actually really like this scene.
This is my favorite scene of the
He was pretty badass.
He's pissed off.
Yeah, you don't fuck with Master Chief.
No.
And I like this. The only thing that could have made it better if he was wearing his helmet, but that's no big deal now. It's like it's over.
It's like you need to get over that.
And also the whole thing was just about how far he could go without interference from Cortana.
Right.
That wasn't even about Halsey.
She couldn't, the only thing she can do is shut him down and black him out in
that
a coma.
killed her.
But
And that would have killed Halsey.
Yeah.
So he knows now, okay, I know how the game is going to be played from now on. So I like that. I like that Chief outsmarted Cortana, which I think kind of boosted his character a little bit. I really enjoyed this scene. It was all good. It was great filming. I love the timer that was on the screen. Everything about it was really cool. I had a good time with this part.
It's like, I am done with your shit, bitch.
Yeah.
And
yeah, basically. And we'll talk about it in a minute, but in this episode, the control of the Spartan program kind of gets shifted. And I'm wondering if this is where they're going to go away from, okay, we're done with Chief's storyline. Now we're going to get into more of the classic video game style Spartan program stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm curious to see where it goes moving forward. So we'll see.
So I don't know. I like this episode a lot. There wasn't a lot of action in this episode, but there was a lot of.
It's more.
There was a lot of setup and I enjoyed this episode. I did a lot. I'm not going to give my final thoughts here, but there was a lot of this kind of stuff to this whole thing. So
cool. All right, Kage, take it away.
All right. Makee gets a full medical workover, though for some reason that doesn't seem to reveal her finger shiv. And she'll only speak to Master Chief. The UNSC military command debate whether Chief is up to the challenge, and it becomes clear Parangosky's enemies on the council are moving against her due to the rebellious Spartans under her command and the recent ambush on Erradius.
I'm having a hard time with the Makee character.
Me as well.
I don't know why these people can't figure out that she's a spy.
They should immediately know.
Yeah. And we talked about this last time when she was like, make it look good. And then she just shows up with a bloody nose.
Well, I think everyone in the military is convinced that she's a spy and they don't trust her. And in fact, throughout this entire episode, when Master Chief is going to go into interrogate her, one of the guards is just there's no way that,
right.
She is.
He's like, the squid heads don't keep prisoners. She's a freaking plant. And I'm like, oh, he's the smartest person in the military.
Right.
Make him a general.
Yeah.
Because that other dude that was flying that spaceship who was like, oh, bring her on board. She's fine.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Well, so I think her character is interesting, but I feel like in order for her to stay interesting, the writers are making everyone around her dumber. And that's really frustrating to get on board with. I don't want to care about her if everyone else has to be dumb in order for me to do that.
For her to have the upper hand, everybody else has to kind of be stupid.
It doesn't make any kind of sense. All of a sudden, all of these highly trained military officials, all of a sudden, they didn't think to
also, she's
dig a little deeper. She's got a fresh haircut, man.
Yeah,
she's a prisoner in this aspect for the UNSC,
she's
right?
Not even dirty,
but she's being held in a suite.
Yeah, she's got fresh, clean clothes on.
Yeah,
a fresh do, no roots. That's not a natural blonde, man. You can't convince me of that. She's been getting her hair done this whole time. I'm kidding. Blondes don't come for me.
Well, also the fact that they're advanced scans that can monitor Spartan vital signs, stuff like that, can't pick up the Covenant, sword that's
in her finger.
I still need more information about that. Where did that come from? Was it a birthday gift? They were like, we got you this cool finger shiv.
I don't understand. It's not a game lore thing at all. Yeah. It's just this weird thing for this character.
Is it a laser?
Well, it's the same technology that they use for the laser swords, for the energy swords from the game. It's the same technology, but it's applied in a weird way.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If I have been impaled with one of those laser swords and you scan me, does it pick up the sword?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You'd think it would.
You'd have to have
You'd
have to have a Star Trek tricorder to be able to.
I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it only picks it up if it's extended, but once it goes back in, it divides itself into molecules.
It doesn't make sense.
Continue.
Anyway, yeah, continue on. What I was saying.
All right, Master Chief goes to see Makee, and the two meet for the first time. Makee reveals he's known among the Covenant as the Demon, and that the Covenant took the artifact to a planet called Radaskoka in the Aspero star system. Master Chief doesn't trust Makee, but Makee reveals she's known as the Blessed One, and she's just like Master Chief. This triggers memories of Chief's time on Rubble, and he gets wigged out and leaves.
I didn't like this part. I didn't like that Master Chief lost his shit. Like right in front of like the high whatever prisoner that they have.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, keep your shit together, dude. Like, if you're going to have a freaking freak out, like, at least exit the room and do it away from her. Like, now she knows that she can affect him in that way. And I don't like that.
Yeah, but they're the same.
I find Makee's tact here very interesting because she's not lying to him at all.
Yeah.
Like she's just basically telling him straight up, you know, like, oh, you're the demon.
Yeah.
Here's where they might have taken the artifact.
They sound like a wrestling tag team, the Blessed One and the Demon.
Well, I did like that he was
tag team champions.
When she was like, "Oh, you're called the Demon," he's like, "I've been called worse." That was a nice moment for him. I thought that was cool. But I don't know, man. I don't like seeing Chief in a weakened state in front of somebody, which obviously, as like a trained military expert, he'd be like, "Well, I shouldn't do that in front of the prisoner who I'm trying to interrogate. I should probably have my freaking panic attack outside."
I think they're trying to make it clear that he's losing control of himself.
Yeah, that doesn't make me happy.
But he's figuring out how to get it back though.
He's handling it. He's handling it better
than a lot
than
of stuff happened in the last.
He's
couple
learning
weeks,
how to
man.
control Cortana, not himself.
Yeah.
He'll grow into it.
Well, we'll see.
A fresh haircut is just making me angry every time I see it.
Hugh and the freaking fashion.
Don't tell me you've been a prisoner and you got a fresh fade
And makeup.
and makeup.
Yeah.
You're clean, but you were a prisoner.
I mean,
You're not going to enjoy life here.
Well, maybe they were in a Norwegian prison or something.
Like, she gets off of the ship in her like cool uniform and they put her in a sack immediately. Like, is this what you wanted? You were better off on the ship.
I do think
It probably gave you the good shampoo with the finger massage.
well, they probably bathed her and checked her out, made sure it wasn't having any technology or
Call her
something.
the blessed one.
Yeah. All right, whatever.
How bad could they have been treating
I
her?
don't know. I'm done talking about Makee. Go ahead. What happens next?
All right. With Master Chief's info, Captain Keyes begins searching the Aspero system to try to find the planet Makee mentioned. Master Chief goes to the artifact, questioning what exactly he is and what connection he may have to Makee. Meanwhile, Parangosky is having Halsey interrogated to set her up as a scapegoat for the leadership committee. Parangosky and Keyes observe the interrogation of Halsey holographically as Master Chief bursts in and takes over the interrogation. He gets Halsey to reveal to him the truth about his past, where he was abducted and replaced with a Flash clone that died shortly after he was taken. Halsey was planning the future of the human species by jump-starting its evolution. Miranda sneaks in on the interrogation and learns all the dirty laundry her mother is responsible for. Halsey explains that the risk of Master Chief getting his memories back was worth it to unlock the mysteries of the artifact, and that John is the key to figuring out what they are, and he will lead humanity beyond its current limitations, but that he needs Halsey to do it. However, Master Chief wants nothing to do with her and vows to finish uncovering the truth behind the artifacts without Halsey.
Good scene.
Interesting exposition dump.
Yeah.
No,
And
they did it.
it's all canon stuff. The whole thing with Halsey and the kids and the clones and letting them die off, like that's all straight from the canon. So I didn't have a problem with that. I think this scene was needed.
Mm-hmm.
But man, are they taking their time with this freaking world building?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so much, and I get that they have to. I just wish that the momentum of the show was a little bit faster.
Depends on how much of a commitment they have of this show. I mean, if they need to take the time to do the world building properly, then fine.
Yeah,
You know, I'm okay with it as long as there's some decent payoff later.
that's the biggest
So,
thing.
yeah.
is like what's the end of this season going to look
It's
like?
like I don't know. Do you want to just watch the video game every hour for a week? What fun would that be?
Kind of.
But that's not a TV show. That's a video game.
Yeah.
Go play Halo.
Well, that's their reasoning behind this.
I get it, and I agree
Yeah.
with it. I understand that. So, but yeah, if they're going to tell us a story, tell us a story. You know, I don't want to see people playing Halo for an hour on this streaming service. If I want that, I'll go to Twitch and I'll watch somebody play Halo.
But I also don't want 8 hours of exposition dumps in office buildings and
I
people
get it.
standing in corners.
I agree with that as well.
So there needs to be a middle ground.
Sure.
And I don't feel like this season so far has not met that middle ground for me. It's like it's really cool action scene and then like 3 episodes of dialogue and then one 13-minute action scene, and now we get another 3 episodes of dialogue.
Yeah, I agree. I like I like the exposition dumps on this episode. I don't like Makee. I do not like that character at all. I don't think that doesn't make a lot of sense how
she's a human that's within the inner circle of the covenant, and that's
it's weird.
Doesn't
But whatever.
We'll see where it goes. She's the blessed one.
The blessed one, the demon.
After Master Chief goes to Kai and tells her the truth about the Spartan program, Parangosky springs her trap on Halsey and reveals she's being banished and her program is being given to Miranda to run. Miranda continues her examination of Makee and mentions the message the UNSC intercepted from Makee's cruiser and asks for her help in translating it. Makee agrees and notices Master Chief's hand tremors. Master Chief goes to his ship for a health diagnostic and is told his status is critical. Keyes reports to Parangosky that their scans of the Aspero system are coming up empty, and Makee's info is pretty much useless. Miranda goes to see Halsey after she takes over her lab, and though Halsey appears to have some emotions about being a mother and the state of their broken family, it was really just a ploy to get Miranda's eye scan information so she can find a backdoor into accessing the FleetCom network and reach Cortana.
Halsey's the worst.
I like that though. Like, she's the best character in this freaking show so far.
She is really good. Yeah.
She's so cool and she's so conniving and she's like playing 3D chess with people.
Imagine being her kid though.
I know, it's terrible. Like, there was like legit a moment where they had that moment together with Miranda and Halsey, and she's like, "Hey, you're my daughter. I just wanted to, I have to say goodbye to you because I'm going to be gone for a while." I also like that Admiral lady actually finally pulled the trigger on something and was like, "Yeah, we've had enough of your shit. You're out. I've figured out how to play the game correctly. I'm not going to get in trouble for this. You're out."
Yeah.
I like that they finally moved forward with that because they've been teasing it for like 4 episodes.
I liked that Miranda wasn't duped by Halsey either. She was just like, "I don't buy this. Fine, I'll say goodbye, but you're not just here as my mother.
Right.
You always have an agenda."
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that she didn't know exactly what it was. It didn't surprise me that she did get fooled by Halsey, because Halsey's just so devious. But I liked the fact that they didn't make Miranda fall for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was played really well, and I like that Halsey is so freaking devious and conniving. I really enjoy that aspect of her character.
Did you guys also notice, so like in this scene, creepy Aiden, her assistant, is with her, and he said, like, "I didn't spend the last 30 years designing this, this firewall in order for it to be easily broken." And when I saw that, I was like, that guy's can't be more than like 35, So like, I'm wondering if Aiden himself is a Flash clone and she just keeps replacing him with like new versions of himself.
That's very interesting. Actually, I never really considered that, but
I didn't either. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, what if he is?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if he's like,
wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either. Because he did have a weird connection with that clone of Halsey.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why he's so creepy.
He totally wanted to rape her.
Yeah, he has a thing for clones. But like, that's interesting. I didn't really consider that. That's very interesting. Okay, so what if he is? What if he is? I like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like anyone can die on the show and they'll just bring him back as a Flash clone. But the most disturbing part of this episode was when Miranda was explaining how the kids were replaced with genetically defective Flash clones that would be okay for a while, and then there'd be subtle like nosebleeds and headaches, and then they just die. Yeah, and you're just and she says it in such like a detached, emotionless way. And Miranda's like sitting here watching her explain that, and she's just like, "My mom's a monster."
She's a monster,
And she's the only, and she actually tried to show John some sympathy when he was like walking away, and John was just like so upset that he didn't even register it. But you can tell like the big difference between Miranda and Halsey is just this like empathy for actual other human beings,
humanity.
Yeah. Well, like Halsey in her head, she's got that mantra of the greater good. Like, it's straight from like Hot Fuzz or something like that, where she's kind of like, she thinks what she's doing is for the better, but she doesn't care who she has to step on to do it. Yeah. And it's a very dark prospect, but it's straight from the canon.
And we hear her justification multiple times in this episode, where she's basically like, society doesn't like look favorably upon people who believe that this way until they get to the point where they see the benefit of it, and then like everything is justified. And it's just like, she's not wrong.
No, it's hard to argue with that, but it's just immoral. Yeah. So I think Halsey is probably by far the best character in this show so far as like development and like we understand her motives. I really like her character. I think they're doing her exceptionally well.
Yeah, I don't like how she's being set up as the main big bad as opposed to the Covenant, though. Like, I really wish like the UNSC wasn't such a gray area in this show.
Yeah, I can understand. Like, I don't mind having Halsey be like the dark side of the UNSC, but I do agree that I think the UNSC as a whole should be seen in a good light. And then like Halsey's kind of like that black sheep that we don't like, that we have to deal with her. But
She's the Queen Cane of this show.
yeah. Before we move on to the second half of this episode, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you want to support the podcast, go to saltynerdstore.com and grab some of our merch. We'd really appreciate it. If you do buy something, we'd really love to see a photo of it, and we can share it on social media and whatnot. We have a ton of really cool shirts. My favorite is the one I wear every podcast. It's our official logo. I enjoy the heck out of it. Yeah, Jude is wearing the tank top version, and Kadish is wearing the Salty Justice Warrior. That's a classic.
Yeah,
that goes way back. That goes way back when somebody called us SJWs.
SJWs.
Somebody said that. I don't remember what we liked. We said we liked a movie or something like that, and they called us SJWs, and we were like Salty Justice Warriors. So anyway, support the podcast, grab some merch. We'd really appreciate it, and send us a photo.
And also, it's like, so we got some new shirts coming out this month, but if you go to saltynerd.com/shirts, you can see what our latest limited edition shirt is for the TV series that we're reviewing for our members area. And they're usually pretty fun.
Yep. All right. Continue on, Mr. Kadish. What happens next?
All right. So meanwhile, Miranda finds a protein strain in Master Chief's blood that has a match with a gene marker in Makee's blood, which could be the connection to the artifact. Statistically, Makee and Master Chief are 2 in a billion. Master Chief goes to confront Makee about her faulty intel, and Makee warns Master Chief that the Keystone is killing him and that the only way to control the artifact is to surrender to them. If you fight the Keystone's control, it will eventually kill you. Master Chief convinces Miranda to let him access the artifact, and Halsey observes the session through Cortana, and as Master Chief touches the artifact again, Makee begins to have sympathy visions as well and starts to have a seizure. Though it nearly kills him, Master Chief eventually gains control of the artifact and has a shared vision with Makee of the Halo Ring. So we finally get to see the Halo Ring.
About time.
That was kind of cool. It's big.
Makee and Master Chief go on a dream walk together.
Yeah. I'm really curious where they're taking this. I like that I don't know if I like it or not, but I thought it was interesting that the artifacts, like the way she was describing it, like you have to give in. It's almost like a DMT trip. You know, you talk about these people who are like, oh, I went on this freaking trip. You know, I ate some mushrooms, and like, you just have to give into it and you'll have a good time. If you try to fight it, it goes dark. I'm like, Jesus Christ, the freaking artifacts are like mushrooms or whatever.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah. Peyote or some shit like that. I thought that was funny. I just kind of chuckled at that. I'm like, I've heard people describe DMT in almost the exact same way.
Well, I found it was interesting that Makee was basically having, the artifact visions without, actually touching the artifact. It was because Chief was activating it, and I guess she was in proximity.
They're the same.
She was able to access the vision. And that minute when they wake up on Halo and they actually like see the Halo ring and stuff like that, and it was a really nice moment for the show, I thought.
It was interesting. I don't know if I could say it's nice. I'm not sure what this character is going to have. Like they're saying, like, oh, they're 2 in a billion. And I'm like, okay. So that kind of relieved me a little bit because I was really worried that they were going to make Kwan Ha like the other half of Chief's.
Wait for it.
Is she going to be a third?
No,
is she going to be a third wheel?
I don't think
There's
so.
3 in a billion.
Ugh. I mean, like mathematically, yeah, that's possible. But
I think
like,
she's there to be the strong warrior woman.
Would it not be Makee?
You know what I think might salvage the Kwan Ha character is if Makee becomes a turncoat.
Well, she's obviously going to do that, yeah.
No, against the
Covenant,
against the Sketskis, and falls in love with Master Chief, teams up with him, and then Kwan Ha becomes the villain of the series. That's the only way it's going to work for me is if she becomes the villain who we're all rooting to die, and so is the show.
So
I just hope Madrigal gets
glassed
over.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Something needs to get glassed.
I want to see that happen.
Something needs to get glassed by the end of this.
Something doesn't get goddamn glassed.
By the end of this show.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter.
And we'll read about it.
Yeah. I don't like the idea that Makee and Chief are going to be like the love interest bit to this TV show, because as weird as it might sound, in the games, the love interest for Chief is Cortana.
Okay.
Like that relationship is really important to the story. And if that gets turned into like Cortana is still working with Halsey and Chief still doesn't trust her and Makee is the one he starts to turn towards, I don't like that idea.
No, I wasn't saying that Master Chief falls in love with her. I'm saying she falls in love with him. And don't you think that would make a really fun love triangle between Cortana being jealous of Makee and trying to keep Makee out of his inner circle and trying to keep him from like believing her?
If Cortana had been on Chief's side for the majority of this show and they had that relationship, then maybe. But at this point in time, why in the world would he trust Cortana?
I didn't think it would happen overnight. This is my headcanon for like next season.
Also, I don't think that Makee will ever be Chief's love interest. If anyone was going to be a love interest for Chief, it'd be Kai. Yeah.
The other Spartan.
Yeah, Kai. It was kind of funny at the beginning of the episode, seeing like how fucked up Kai was.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was a good scene. Because like she's a Spartan, and the only people that could work on her were her fellow Spartans. Because she's so freaking strong.
The lack of her emotional suppression chip, like she's actually like reacting to the pain, whereas like most Spartans, they'd just be like I'm in agony, but like I'm not reacting. But she's like thrashing around, she's like screaming and stuff like that.
It was a pretty intense scene. I like that.
And then like when she goes back and reunites with Silver Squad, and Riz and Vanek are there, and she's just like she feels like so outside of them because like they're all business, and she's like, I just went through something really traumatic, guys, and they're just like, get back to work, throw me that grenade.
I don't know. I this is a weird thing for me because I don't dislike this show. I think they're holding to a lot of core canon stuff. They're taking some liberties, but nothing that's like super massive weird, except for Makee is the only thing. But there's something about this show that's preventing it from like me really, really loving it. I can't pinpoint what it is. Like, it's okay. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be online and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets as much. I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets.
I don't trust it though. Like,
yeah.
I really thought that this last episode that we're talking about today was a good episode. But I don't know that I enjoyed it because I kept waiting for the show to ruin it for me.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's something holding me back.
Yeah.
Like, I could easily really like the show, but I don't. Yeah. I think that's might be it. I don't trust it.
Is that because there's just so much bad series out there?
Maybe. Yeah.
We're just kind of used to watching a bunch of crap.
Well, it's also a CBS show.
Right.
Yeah.
So like CBS just loves to like make shows that have great ideas behind them, but then just gives a big middle finger to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, I just don't trust it.
I mean, so this was probably my favorite episode yet because it was entirely about Master Chief. It was entirely about the UNSC. It advanced the canon. It advanced the lore. It advanced the storyline. There were a lot of really great moments in this episode. And the minute Kwan Ha showed up, it just reminded me of like all the bad stuff that we're going to have to suffer through going forward. And I was like, man, I just want more episodes like this one.
Yeah.
Like make these episodes and throw in some fight scenes or like whatever. I'm happy. The next episode, it's 100% going to be just like this one, except instead of Master Chief focus, it's going to be Kwan Ha. And I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Is that the second to the last episode? Like
Yeah,
and then the season finale comes next?
No. So like, I think it's episode 7. Then we got 2 more after that.
Okay.
And
2
the
more.
storylines will come together.
Yeah. So the last 2 episodes will be the 2 converging. So, I mean, I guess whatever, but I do agree. I want more Master Chief. I know we're not going to, these criticisms that we have are not going to be addressed this season. If whoever's making the show actually listens to fan feedback, we might see some corrections in season 2 where we get less Kwan Ha or whatever. And we kind of dial in on the UNSC. I'm hoping that happens, but we'll see. All right. Anything else? What happens next?
That's it.
That's it? That's the episode?
They ended on the reveal of the Halo.
Okay. It was like a vision though. It wasn't actually the Halo. So
yeah, but they brought in the music, and then like when Master Chief comes out of his trance, he's now fully healed, and he's got a vision of what the end goal is.
All right. I really hope they do justice to the show and they finish on a strong note, but I don't know. We'll see. I didn't dislike this episode. I had a good time with it. I really liked that first opening scene with Kai being in pain, and then like we flash over to Master Chief like owning Halsey. Really good start. Only a couple seconds of Kwan. I'm all down for that. That's good. Good job, show. I don't know, middle of the road. It's like a
just a nice
2.5 nice solid episode.
Lots of setup here.
Yeah.
So it's so good.
Are you guys, so as non-Halo fans, are you guys getting more drawn into the story here, or
I wouldn't say that.
no?
I'm still there.
Okay.
I mean, am I as into it as I was when I first started? No, but that's just because it was a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want some more action too. But
Yeah.
You should have seen Jude's reaction when Kwan Ha showed up. She was like, "Oh God damn it!" She's like, "I was actually enjoying this. I had forgotten that she was a character." Then they like throw her in for no good reason.
I would prefer to. I could totally and happily stop watching at this point and not need to know what happens next.
The show's failing at that point. Then.
yeah, I need to finish the season. I at least need something to.
So you still want to know how it ends?
Yeah,
I have no shits about it.
it's like I'm not going to go 7 episodes into anything and not finish it at this point.
We got
I will.
3 episodes. 3 episodes left. I don't know how they're gonna tie this up. Like,
Especially with a Kwan-centric.
yeah, with one episode that's all Kwan. Like,
It'll probably be the best episode of the season.
no, there's no possible way.
But you guys aren't even giving it a chance. You've already written the episode off. I'm not saying it's not going to suck, but
Okay,
it's got a
James
Kwan Ha
Madigan.
on it. Fuck it. I ain't even
Well, it's
watch
because
it.
nobody likes her character. Even people who love the show.
Well,
like
maybe,
I watch
maybe it'll be about the other dude more than her. Who knows?
Soren. Maybe we'll see.
Can't get Soren without her right now.
He's James Mangolding you right now.
I
You
mean,
can't say that till you watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the trailer that I saw, like Soren doesn't have a big role in it. It looks
I'm getting
mostly
mad at
focused
Soren.
on.
Well,
too.
she's got to go on some like freaking walkabout and go meet the Mystics or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's something
I
going
hope
on
the
with
Mystics are at least cool.
We'll see. So apparently, so Dan in our Discord has been like going on a deep dive and trying to figure out where Kwan Ha's story is going. There's a 3-book series on Audible that you can download. It's all about the Halo Forerunners. Apparently, that's where they're getting her story from with the Mystics and stuff. And he's like, you should go read those books. I'm like, I'm not going to read 3 freaking books so I can know about a 15-minute episode with Kwan Ha. Like, no, it's not
But
happening.
there is no Kwan Ha though.
There's no
right?
Kwan Ha, but
Okay.
like apparently where her story is going is based off of these books that take place hundreds of thousands of years before Halo. So
Okay.
well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it for the episode. Thanks for joining us. What did you think about this episode of Halo, and what do you expect coming up? Comment below. Let us know. Matt, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me at MattVader74 on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of them.
Very good.
So
Jude?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and on TikTok.
All right. Matt Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page. And fuck you, CBS.
On that note, we're going to end the episode. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Stay salty.